But we wanted to bring you on here to talk a little bit about All In, and you're
Yeah.
going to join us for the whole show. And I love talking to you, and I haven't talked to you in a while face to face. I talk to you messaging all the time, but
Yeah.
so you're in the UK, and you've worked in the wrestling industry in the past. And you're not currently, right?
No, I kind of dabble. Let's just
Okay,
put it
no,
that way.
that's fair enough.
I help people when they want help,
Okay, so
so
like a
I
consultant.
go in and out, but I don't have my own promotion. I have no intention
Okay,
of having my own promotion or anything like that. But I help out occasionally.
but you're tuned into the scene.
Yeah, yeah.
So, and that's why people have said, a lot of the analysis about All In and what would be a success and what wouldn't be, and all this talk is coming from people on this side of the Atlantic, and we're not really hearing a lot from people in the UK. And I have listened to a few people that I know are over there, and I am curious for your perspective, because first of all, they had the pre-sale on Tuesday, and then they had another pre-sale today. So they opened with about 36,000 tickets sold. I think they're now up to about 45.
Yeah.
And the general on sale isn't until Friday.
Mm-hmm.
How does that track compared to other big events in the UK? Like, in obviously wrestling, it's huge, but in
Yeah.
other big time events over there.
I mean, the interesting thing about this one was it feels like everybody was in pre-sale, more or less, because they trailed it constantly on programming.
Okay.
And it was a constant trail of sign up now, get in the pre-sale. So it's interesting that I think most people were already in the pre-sale. And I suspect that a lot of people will have already bought. However, what I am hearing from a lot of people is they went in the pre-sale. So there was 2 pre-sales on Tuesday. Yeah, yesterday, day before yesterday, whatever it was. So you had the 9 a.m. So the 9 a.m. was just for people in AEW Plus on Fight TV. I believe it was supposed to be for people who shopped with Shop AEW, but I mean, I've shopped at Shop AEW and I didn't get a code, and I heard a lot of people didn't get codes. And the AEW heels all got sent a code by Aubrey Edwards as well, who kind of came in at the last minute and sort of pulled that out.
That was a cool story.
It's a really cool story. There was a bit of, I think it was a bit of disappointment that there wasn't going to be codes, and she was very instrumental in getting codes for everybody, which was great. And I know when I went in, so I was in, the queue started about 8:45, so I was in, and I was actually on the phone with a couple of people, someone from Hong Kong and Robin in Hong Kong, and Becky in Sheffield, because we're all going together. And we were kicked out multiple times. We got in the queue, we got tickets, the tickets came out the basket, we couldn't get through, the credit cards wouldn't go through, we got kicked to the back of the queue. And this was common, I think, with everybody. And we're on the floor. The tickets are much higher than advertised. They've gone to dynamic pricing already. So the £400 tickets that we were supposed to have were nearer 700. But okay, whatever. Apparently they are higher now than they were.
Interesting.
Which is, I mean, I have to say, it's kind of unusual for the UK. I haven't come across dynamic pricing on a UK show for a while.
Now is that unusual to have dynamic pricing on a show?
For the UK, it's not common, but it does happen, but it's not common. Maybe some of the bigger boxing shows and some of the bigger sporting events.
I think UFC has it but they're doing arenas, not stadiums.
Yeah, exactly. Although they do stadiums, I think, as well. But yeah, they're mostly doing arenas. Like the O2, they do the O2.
I don't think they've done a UK stadium, but yeah, the O2 Arena, the last event they did there, they did average ticket price was £500.
Well, describe this to me, because I'm not quite understanding. Okay, they're advertised at like 400, and then if a bunch of people get in the queue, they just start jacking up the price all of a sudden or something.
Yeah.
Wow.
That's what happened. I know, it's crazy.
And they still sold that many tickets. That's impressive.
Yeah. So from the front row seats, the ones you get the chair with, they were listed at 1,500. And they were going, when I was buying my tickets, they were going at 2,500, and apparently they've gone up since. So
and when they first announced the pricing, I seem to remember it being reported that the ringside seats were like 300 or something.
Yeah.
So that was what they said back then, but then obviously that changed between then and now.
Yeah,
And so you get people all hyped up. Because I remember hearing this about the Clash show in Wales. People were very upset about the ticket prices, and they were even higher than these, right?
They were much higher. I mean,
Yeah.
I think I'd worked out that I'd gone to WrestleMania in 2019, and we went one of the packages where you got the chair, and I think we paid altogether about £6,000, and that got us like about 8 rows back from ringside, and it got us into Raw, SmackDown, Hall of Fame, Takeover, all of those things, you know, the access, everything else, and hotel for 5 days as well. So I thought that was a pretty good deal. We had pretty decent hotels, and to get one ringside seat was going to be something like 9,000 at Clash. It was
and they did. I think they did like a $9 million gate or something.
I got a question. How bad is scalping out there? I mean, is that a thing?
Oh, it's a thing.
Okay.
We have the same issues you guys do, where people. This is why they're doing the codes now to do these bigger pre-sales. So you have to. The codes with this were all unique. There wasn't like one code, which was unusual. I've never seen this. There wasn't a code. It was you were sent your code, and it was your code, and it was linked to you. And I think you could share your code, but only once to one person. So if you gave your code away, you didn't have a code.
Well, that's smart. At least
I don't. Jeff,
some states here are outlawing scalping. So it was just one of those things. I was wondering if
Jeff, I don't know if you saw, but the number of seats that are available on StubHub right now is only 370
for Wembley.
Yeah.
Well, that's because the general sale hasn't gone. I mean,
well, that's what I thought, and so that's what I'm curious to find out on Friday.
But it's 45,000 sold, so that's 370 out of 45,000. That's quite.
No, that's still great.
Yeah.
I mean, it's incredible, and we still don't know what they're scaling it for. At least, have you heard anything, Lisa?
No, I haven't. I know that people were saying there were sections that weren't on sale, but people were saying that, but I was seeing those sections for sale in the morning. Like there was a couple of blocks grayed out on a seating plan that went around a few weeks ago, about a week ago. They were definitely on sale because we were getting tickets in those sections and then getting kicked out of the queue. And when we came back, there was just single tickets left. So there are definitely sections that haven't been put up on sale, but they're selling restricted view seats. So if you're already selling restricted view, I don't know. It seems
depending on the stage setup and basically the stage setup, they could get as many as 90,000, maybe even more, because you got the floor as well, right?
Yeah,
you can get 90,000 in there for football, right?
I don't know. I think it's 90,000 as a stadium, like with the floor, but I'm not 100% sure on that one.
Okay, so I mean, theoretically, I've heard everything from 60 to 90.
Yeah,
and it feels like 60 they're going to sell out on Friday.
I will be surprised if it doesn't hit 60 at some point. I don't know if it will be now or it will be later on. The thing that I would say is I haven't seen any advertising for it over here. None at all. Whereas
they're strictly doing it on the TV shows.
I think so, and probably on social media, because Clash at the Castle, I saw ads all over buses. I saw ads. We have billboards. I live in Liverpool, so that's couple of 100 miles away from Cardiff. Maybe it's about a 3.5-hour drive, I think. And we had billboards, these flashing like electric billboards up on the day it went on sale, saying it was on sale. I've seen nothing like that here at all. Whether or not they'll come later.
Well, yeah, I mean, you got 4 months, right? Or May, June, July, 3.5, almost 4 months. And I mean, we haven't had a match announced or even hinted at. So I mean, you got to think, depending on. I mean, if they sell 60,000 tickets without even having a match announced, I mean, I would say it doesn't matter what you put out there. I mean, it matters in the sense that if you ever want to come back and try to do these sale numbers, you better give them a good card. But I mean, I don't think you necessarily need to put like a big marquee main event that you would maybe need to sell tickets somewhere else, like Kenny and Will. I mean, I think a lot of people are expecting that match and want that match. I know you do. I think you do. Yeah,
I do. Yeah, I just
and I think you can do this without MJF.
It feels more Forbidden Door to me, that match, but
yeah, that could be. Yeah,
I don't know. It's a funny one because I think they have to, if they want to come back, they have to make this like an absolutely blow away standout show if they want to come back to the UK and sell. Because the thing with this is the first time they've come. They are on ITV in this country. It is a much higher viewership than WWE is getting, and I've heard this debated, and I think it's true that when you talk wrestling in the UK, people immediately go to WWE because that's always been the way. I mean, people used to say, "Oh, giant haystacks and Big Daddy."
Yeah.
That's kind of started to fall out of parlance
Now
now
it's
to a
like
degree.
Bulldogs and
So, well, do you know what? It's more Stone Cold Steve Austin, The Rock, John Cena, Batista. Those are the names because they're obviously in Hollywood films.
So Drew and Sheamus don't really resonate.
Not really as much. I mean, they're not. I think Drew a little more maybe because he does do like the morning TV shows over here, so people kind of know him. He's fairly, remarkable. People kind of know who he is, but it's still Stone Cold Steve Austin, The Rock, John Cena, Batista. Those are the ones that people think of. But I think with AEW being on ITV, more people have started to say, well, there's wrestling on ITV. They may not know it's AEW. They might think it's WWE, but it's wrestling on ITV. And that's what they're watching. So I think maybe if they're trailing this on the ITV show, which they are, they've got like the, details on there. People are probably just thinking, oh, it's wrestling, not thinking what it might be. It's wrestling. It's at Wembley Stadium. It's an event. I'm going to go.
And that's what I'm wondering. Like if the buzz starts to get out, okay, this upstart company sold 45,000 tickets in the first 2 days, and now it's at 60, and we're trying to get 90. Like, will people just start buying tickets just because they want to be part of an event and not even necessarily caring? I did see one, my friend, our mutual friend, Daza, who was telling me that there was some sort of the Freddie Mercury tribute years ago, and they hadn't even announced an act until like 2 days before the show, but it was selling tickets just based on the fact that people were just trusting that the show was going to be awesome, and it was. And so when you talk about, and one other thing before we move on this subject,
wait, I want to bring up something before you move on.
Well, I'll ask mine, then you ask yours. When you talk about a blowaway show, are you talking marquee or are you talking quality of in-ring? Because those are two very different things. And I think no matter what they give us, it's going to be a blowaway show in the ring. I have no question about that, but if it's a show that people are looking at the card and saying, who's that? Is that going to have a negative reaction to the fan base over there?
I don't want to sit on the fence, but I think you have to do both. I think you have to have
that's
big
great
marquee moments that people go, oh my God, wow. But you also have to have those really good matches that people are, I don't know who this guy is, but then they see him and they're blown away. And I mean, we do have a very healthy independent wrestling scene out here. It's not, it's not huge, but there are companies here that are drawing, 1,000 people, 1,500 people, or more, even 2,000-3,000 people to venues all around the UK. And they're doing that with American talent, but they're also doing that with homegrown talent. And those are the people that will go expecting a good show. So I think you have to do.
Given that it's and then I'll get to you, Jeff. That the marketing of this is going to be All In, like the original All In, which was bringing together companies from, not even companies, like wrestlers from all over the world, that basically, if you're not WWE, you're invited to this show. The big matches that we could get could be literally people from anywhere. And that's, I think, what we should probably expect. And we could get dream matches that you're never going to see on AEW TV or even pay-per-view. So almost like a Forbidden Door, but Forbidden Door is just New Japan and AEW, whereas this is everything.
Definitely. Okay. And I think, I mean, wrestling's a broad church, but wrestling's a broad church over here, very much so. And I mean, I've walked around my local area where I live. Like I said, I'm in Liverpool. I'm actually in North Liverpool, in quite a small kind of town. And before he was signed to AEW, I was seeing people in Danhausen t-shirts, and you see stuff like that here. It's there is an appetite for that kind of thing, and New Japan comes here and it sells out, and I think it's doable here, and I think you can mix the two and have those marquee moments. People talk about AEW using Goldberg. I mean, if you brought Goldberg over, for example, that would be a big moment. And that will probably sell tickets. But I think you can do that and then do, I don't know, a smaller indie match beside it that people will really enjoy.
Like hopefully Michael Oku's on this card, for instance.
I would love Michael Oku to be on this card. He would be Michael Oku. I would like Ricky Knight Jr. on this card. I mean, he, obviously he deserves a much bigger, to my mind, a much bigger stage than he's getting at the moment.
Okay, Jeff.
There's a few. UK talent. So yeah.
I think we've passed over something that we need to talk about here, because she said a few minutes ago that there was no real advertising blitz like there was for WWE, and yet it's more popular apparently, or it's on a bigger station, ITV, opposed to like BT Sports, I would guess would be the other one. Why isn't AEW making a big deal of these tickets going on sale for the event? Because Paul, you're going, well, if it can get this little underground, no, they are supposedly a top-notch company in the UK. They need to be doing the WWE hard push for this. Sell out that stadium before Friday and rub it in everybody's face. I don't get this at all if there's no advertising around and there's no advertising blitzes in there, especially with Tony Khan's money and especially with the statement he's trying to make with this show. I find that absolutely ludicrous, and I don't want it to be some friends told somebody it's an underground type. No, this shouldn't be underground at all. There shouldn't be anything. This should be a spectacle that everybody should want to go to. That is, and I believe Clash at the Castle sold out on the basis of just saying we're coming. Boom, they were done.
It didn't sell out.
No, it didn't sell out. Jeff.
I thought it
didn't sell out.
No,
you could get tickets on the day. There was,
yeah.
Well, it caused a big stir because they had all these tickets on, and tickets were going £300, £400, £500, £600 for really bad
That's
seats.
What it was. They were having their high at first, yeah.
And on the day you could buy the same seats for like 40 quid.
And people were going in and like changing their seats because they were pissed off. Like, I know people that did that.
Sell, though. I mean, that just floors me that she hasn't seen any advertising for it.
I haven't. I mean, it's possible there's advertising in London, because obviously I don't live there anymore, so I don't know.
Well, I haven't
seen anything. But I haven't seen anything where I live. I definitely haven't seen anything in the press, or I've seen stuff. I've seen radio shows talking about it, like sports radio shows. They're talking about it at the moment. BBC had something on with Nigel McGuinness talking about the first day sales, but I've not seen the advertising. So whether the plan is to do that big pre-sale and then start pushing it, I mean, like you say, you've got a few months. I see what you're saying, that you want to do the big sellout, but you've got a few months. You can kind of build it. Why spend money, I guess?
Yeah, right. And save the money till you actually have something to advertise.
And the other thing Tony needs to do, because he had this tete-a-tete with the ESPN boxing reporter. He needs to take his victories as opposed to being mad. It's like, it would be like the owner of the LA WNBA team being angry that Prince sold out the Staples Center. It's like you're comparing two different things here, guys. It's like, yeah, sure, Tyson Fury can get 90,000. Of course he can. He's a world boxing heavyweight champion. You're not.
Or I mean, or it'd be like Triple H going off on somebody because somebody sold more tickets to the Ford Field than they did for SummerSlam. Yeah. No, all they're going to do is tell you this is how many tickets we sold.
The Detroit Lions sold out the place. Well, of course they did.
Yeah.
Yeah. I could not believe it. I couldn't believe he got that upset about it. It's just kind of like, I want to take his.
What did he tell? He said, "Eat shit."
Yes.
Because
he accused that Nick Khan was his agent because he was like at CAA or something, and that he's a part of ESPN and they have a deal with WWE. So it's no, the guy's a boxing reporter. He could care less about wrestling.
Yeah.
I mean,
Tony needs to get off Twitter.
I mean, I'm assuming Tony's quite got at with things we don't know about, and I think sometimes that just bleeds into Twitter, and maybe sometimes he needs to just step away, and as I'm doing at the moment, have a chamomile tea
and
just chill.